What is up, YouTubers? Well, we'll try this again. I deleted the other one, so I just wanted to kind of touch base with y'all on owning your own business, the good points, the bad points. Um, the good points, a lot of people will tell you, I can't go back, to factory work or whatever I did. You're your own boss. Yeah, that's nice. The bad aspect on that, remember, you're the janitor, you're the CEO, you're the tax guy that has to pay the taxes. You've got all of that uh, stuff behind you. You got your personal property tax. Um, I don't know if any of you guys know that uh, printer back there, that coffee maker, um, your computer stuff, your chairs, you have to pay a business tax on them. You've already bought them. I don't see where I should have to pay a tax on something I've already bought. You know, um, and they tax the small business guy. And everybody says, oh well, the small businessman don't uh, give to the economy. I think we're the ones that help hold the economy up. If you didn't have the small business guy right down to that farmer or that guy that goes out here and does toilets or, whatever you do, whatever business you have overhead. And a lot of people don't understand. You know, uh, you still have to pay your paint places. And you may have a bad month there that your money's already went out for other things, but at the end of the month, if that ain't there, they're standing there with their hand out wanting their money, and that's just what I'm trying to get across to you. You've got family obligations. Just because you're in business and you work 12 hours and you come home and maybe your spouse or whatever tells you that, well, we got a ball game in the morning, we got to be, 100 miles away to a ball game. That means you got to get up early, lose sleep. Um, you know, you may, like me, I have a family member that I didn't expect, moving in. I'm taking care of my mom. Uh, and I don't begrudge that. I'm not complaining. I'm not whining. I'm just telling you, there's an extra mouth to feed that I didn't know that was going to be there. I didn't plan out, my business in town. I thought, I was doing well to where I was, making the rent payments and paying my insurance and stuff. And, you got to take all that into consideration. Your federal, state taxes. You have sales tax. Uh, it don't matter where you're at. You've got them things. So if you can start out small in a area, just don't get too big too fast, or don't think too big too fast. I'll put it that way. If I had my way, I'd do it all over. I'd started here and worked my way out, and I would work my job. But my job chose to leave me. I didn't choose to leave the job. They were downsizing. They were getting rid of big money. Um, and was I making big money? It's most that I've ever made. Um, but I was good. I felt at what I done. Um, I worked for another company that I'd left that I'd worked there 15 years, and they paid for a lot of my schooling and things. And if you're at that stage right now, or if you're you know uh, a young man and a company offers to pay for your schooling, and that, take every bit of it. You know, and I seen older guys that fought it, but when I was a young man, I took their classes in their courses. I took refrigeration. I took hydraulics. I took pneumatics. I'd done a little bit of electrical. Um, you know, to the point to where I could do a little bit of electrical here and there, and they wanted to grandfather me in to where I would have had my electrical license. But like I told for industrial maintenance and stuff. But like I told the gentleman, I said to me that would be cheating. I'd be cheating the system because I want to earn it. I don't want you to grandfather me in just because I know the stuff and I'm capable of doing it. I want to go to school, and I guess that certificate meant more to me than just having somebody come out there and tell me excuse me, tell me that, hey, yeah, you're doing an awesome job. I wanted to earn everything I got, but that's the way I've been. I've earned every dime that I've ever worked to get, and it's just one of them. Sorry, guys, my phone's ringing. It's just one of them deals to where you know I got sidetracked or off track. Uh, I took the schooling. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, well, you don't want to. I had a lot of the older generation, the older old timers that kind of fought me on it. And I had one gentleman tell me that, he was the biggest against it, because he felt that they were going to get get rid of you if you didn't, and they just wanted you the opportunity to learn the machinery, know the machinery, because we got a lot of modern stuff that was digital. We done a lot of the pneumatics. A lot of the older machines that we had for the particular chicken plant I was working in, they were upgrading, and I got in on the bottom floor. And I took all their schooling. I was one of them people that um, I just, I tried to get some of the older, or I listened to the older generation, and they taught me a lot. But I also, when I went to school and stuff, I learned a lot. And I'll be the first to tell you that I hated school. I was not good in school. Um, it's just one of them things. But back to business, that stuff, the hydraulics, pneumatics, the electrical. I've got a stack of certificates, and I could probably go anywhere in our area and have any industrial maintenance job that I want. And I'm not bragging; it's just the way it is. I I was good at what I done, but I wanted to change, and I wanted to make myself well off, not somebody else. And a lot of people don't understand, um, when you own your own business, you sacrifice a lot of things, and you better be prepared. If you need any machinery or anything, and if you lease, in my opinion, you need to buy. Don't do what I did and lease, because that lease is going to be over your head, just like rent. If you can own your own building, or have a building that's, you're not paying astronomical for rent, you're going to do okay. Um, because you're going to have them months that you're going to squeak by. And, a gentleman had told me, and I'm going to use it for analogy. You have your lean months, and you have your, you know, it's very lean. You're not generating nothing, and then you're going to be on top of the world. And you better save that money when you're on top of the world, or put it back, because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. Uh, I wasn't fortunate enough to do that, because I was doing enough vehicles and things. I thought it was okay to do. I was making the rent. I was making, all the utilities and everything. But there was months that I robbed into my own kitty, and I probably shouldn't have done that because it drained me very quickly. Um, and that's another thing. If you see that a couple months there that you're not doing so hot, you might take into consideration that maybe you've kind of jumped the gun, or you're, I don't want to discourage anybody, but you really just need to watch how you spend, how you, pay different people and things. Don't overextend yourself, I guess. Um, if you can, stay away from credit. Um, it's good to have credit. It's good to build your business credit, but don't get into where it's going to hurt you, you know, because if you're just paying the minimum, uh, or if you, well, next month I'll pay a little extra, it will catch up with you. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to catch up with you. It will ruin your business. Um, if you don't think business credit is good, just, and I worked hard, within a year's time, I had the credit at Dun and Bradstreet. They were contacting me. I had the Better Business Bureau contact me in a year's time. The lady said that's never, we've never contacted anybody that's done so well, you know, that people were bragging to the credit or the Better Business Bureau. It wasn't negative. And that made me feel good because, I got that on my own. And that's what I'm saying. If you're fighting, struggling on your own, and that, I think you're going to appreciate it a little more. It's going to give you the grit. But anybody that's been in business from 1 to 5 years, yeah, you're struggling in that, but you're not seasoned like the guy from 5 to 15 or whatever. The guy that's been in business the longest, I'm going to tell you, he's had some challenges. He's done what he's had to do to get there. And anybody that has kids or family or anything, you need to give them credit because they have sacrificed a lot. And, I know where I'm at. I've sacrificed everything. Um, I don't consider, I've had to take a step back. Um, I feel I'm treading water right now. But if you don't watch what you're doing, you can you could go down quick. And that's the sad thing. And did I expect my father to die? No. Did I expect for my mom to have to move in with me? No. And I'm not whining, I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you people what you need to be prepared for. Be prepared for the worst. Have a little savings or a little money. Don't take that money and, if you want a new bass boat, go buy a new bass boat or new, and I didn't do any of that. I put every dime back into my business. And, there was just months there that I wasn't, I wasn't doing so good, but I wasn't the only one. And, the place that I was, a big business that does the same thing I was doing, and I was probably not even 2 blocks, not even that probably, from them. Uh, Today I turned in my keys for the shop, and I asked the neighbor where they was, and he said, "Oh, haven't you heard?" They come in, moved everything out, and they got a much smaller building. And even the window tint guy thought he was going to stay here and tint windows. They took everything to the smaller building. And he said what the guy told him is he lost a lot of it to online. People do their own running boards and stuff like that. It's just, people's watching their money right now. So, you got to take into consideration that, if you do get into business, is that something somebody needs? I think somebody's always going to need small engine repair, weed eaters, lawnmowers, things like that. People's always going to need transportation. They don't need their windows tinted. They don't need stuff hydro dipped. They don't, stuff like that is a, what do I want to say? It's something that they can do without. And right now, I believe people are doing that because, you see a lot more people that are, they have 2 and 3 jobs. I talked to a business guy today that told me that, he's not only got his business, but he does insurance full time, does the cars on the side, has a brother-in-law that is his car salesman, and he told him, he said, I'll give you X amount of dollars, but before you get your money, everything has to be paid out of that. That's the lot that they've got the cars at, and the mechanic that they hired. And like he said, I'm still doing insurance, and he said, and I'm struggling. So, I know they're telling us the economy's doing good, but you tell me, I've talked to 4 business guys in the last month that, they're closing shop. And I got sidetracked here. I'm just telling you right now, this day and age, it's kind of hard. And, you're going to think, you just need to think about doing it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to discourage you guys, but there's an opportunity out there, and I think, there's a niche for everybody, and there's just that one thing that might take off, and it may work for you. I've got a buddy that's, he's doing well. He come up with an idea. It took off. I was focused on my business. I chose not to, go in full, be a partner or whatever you want to call it, or, help him. I just figured it was his thing, let him, and he's doing quite well. It's taken off. He's got people that's helping him. He's got financial backing now. That's the other thing, guys, you've got to take into consideration. In my opinion, you've got to have a lot of, and I hear some people tell you no, and some people tell you yeah, but for my instance, I had some lean months there that I had to dip into my retirement. And I'm telling you, if you do that, just be prepared that that's money lost if things don't work out. And some businesses, some aspect of the business is not for everybody. Everybody's not gonna. But you have to decide for yourself. And I'm gonna tell you, your biggest critics are family. I was lucky. I had a wife that stood behind me. She believed in me, but it's to the point now. She's paying for everything, and on top of that, she is got there's days that she's stressed, and if you don't have a spouse that's understanding and knows a little bit about and seen, and she knew her dad had restaurants and things, and you know it's just hard sometimes for the small business guy to there's people think we get good tax breaks, we get breaks, we really don't. And like I said, I really feel that we don't do enough for our farmers, we don't do enough for the small business guy, you know and that's why you see more and more of them shutting down shop. And unless you can fight and have the grit to stay in it, um, you're not gonna you know and you got to have a positive attitude. And in my opinion, you got to have some positive people around you. If you've got somebody bringing you down all the time, it's it's hard, and you not only that, you're going to have doubts, and you're going to have to get around uh, being negative. Uh, and that's what I think part of my problem is in business right now, is I've had so much happen in that I've let the negative take over, and it's brought me down. And I think if you don't have positive people, your local chamber, uh, you know, friends that are business minded, friends that have businesses that, them are the people you want to hang around with. But if you're hanging around with Joe Blow, Billy Bob, that's sitting on the uh, couch drinking a beer, watching Dancing with the Stars with his wife, I don't recommend I take advice from him. But they're going to be the first ones that give you their opinion. And I don't mean that to offend anybody or anything, but I'm telling you, there's people out there that are so negative that they will bring you down and you not even know it. And I know that's my problem. I've been negative. I try not to be a negative person, but you get frustrated. You don't understand why your business. You started a business the same time somebody else does, and you see them screwing people right and left. You see them taking advantage of people, and they're getting ahead. And yet you try to do it the right way. You try to do it the Christian way, and what do? It just seems like you get kicked in the teeth. And I'm not whining. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you guys, be prepared for what's to come. There's other aspects of this, and I'm not going to go into it. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about, but there is another uh, well, I just won't go into it. You know, I'm trying to stay positive, and I wanted this video to, I just want to kind of give you the negative and the positive. I like my own business. I can make my own time. I can, if I feel I want to say something to that customer, I can. But just remember, that one customer you make mad, you may lose 4 or 5 of his. He may tell them that, hey, don't go down there. He's a hard ass, and he won't take no crap. And I had a guy come to me. He said, so and so said something about, uh, you know, you were pretty opinionated, and you tried to, or he tried to, push you around, or get his way. And he said that you wouldn't do it. So he said, I knew something had to be right about you, because if anybody can get the best of him, uh, he said. He said, I knew you were a stand-up guy, because he says most people take his crap. And I thought that was, kind of funny that the guy said it, and he was happy with what I did for him. It's funny that even negative, I got a little positive, but and that's what I'm telling you. And a lot of people don't think that you should read positive books in that. But I'll be the first to tell you is Think and Grow Rich is, and I've read this a couple times because a lot of times I don't understand, and I'll probably have it wore out because I start reading it and then I get on to something else. But and another thing, guys, if you're starting your own business, and I want to thank Chuck from Auto Pro. I've started reading bits and pieces of it. I've got 3 books. I'm reading this one and that one, and then I'm reading the deal of Fast and Loud, his story. That's another one I think you guys ought to go to read. It'll give you some idea, you know. And we all have, that's what I said. I thought about making a book on how to get started in business the wrong way, because I think I've done everything you could possibly do the wrong way, and I don't mean that in a bad way, guys. It's just the nature of the beast. You live, learn by your mistakes, and that's what my dad always told me. What did you learn from it? If you learned something, then you've accomplished something. And I have a older friend that's owned his own business, and that's what he always told his kids. What have you learned from it? And he'd been in business for several years, and he had a significant other, whatever you want to say, that didn't support him. Plus, he had a mom that he was having to deal with. But yet he still went to work from 8 to 5 every day and kept a smile on his face and keep the bills paid and go home. And he said she was a drama queen, and she would want to argue all the time. But I got sidetracked. But this book here, Chuck from Auto Pro Interiors had recommended it. He sent it to me, and I thank you, Chuck. I've read it. I've not read it fully. I like I said, I've started reading it, and then I had to start back over because it's one of them deals. But from what I started reading and that, guys, this guy tells you, profit first. He's going to explain to you, how many that you need to start up checking. And I'll just let you read the book. You really need to read it. I don't want to get into that part because, that's what's worked for this guy. I don't want to give any advice. I'm just putting this out here for you guys to maybe help somebody that's, fixing to go in business for themselves and, to be successful out of the get-go. If I just have one person that is successful out of what I had to say, I've done my job. I just feel that I want to give you all the negative or all the bad stuff that because people's not going to tell you. They're going to tell you, oh yeah, and I did for the longest time. I told people when things were, even business was not coming in, I was telling them that, man, I'm doing great. Things are happening, and maybe I should have just said, well, things are a little slow. I don't know. It's your business. It's something that you're going to have to deal with. And what I'm doing, may be totally different than what you guys are going to do, and you may take off and it may work for you. Just be prepared for all the ups and downs. Be prepared for, people not support you. Be prepared for the money aspect of it, that you may not get a check for 2 to 3 years or longer. All that money's going right back into business, and are you prepared for that? Are you prepared for life's challenges? You know, you're going to get life's challenges thrown at you, deaths. You're going to have, you know, family, friends. Uh, you're just going to have everything come at you, and are you prepared to do that but still stay in business and be your own boss and be able to put up with it? And as I say, it gives you the grit, but do you got the grit to hang in there? um, you know, like I said, I'm regrouping, doing what I have to do. A lot of times there's days like yesterday, um, you know, I wanted to put my fist through the wall. I was that angry, and I was angry at the world. And sometimes you got to let it go, guys. You just, you know, a lot of people don't understand the stress that we go through. And if you've got, you know, I've got a couple projects that, you know, if the parts don't come here on time or whatever, but you got the person calling and they tell you, well, I think I might go somewhere else. Well, that's why, you know, I tell them, well, you know, the parts are on order. You know, I ordered them with, that's why you paid for the stuff. So you're going to have to wait till the parts get here. So, you know, I don't know what I can do to make the UPS man get here any faster, but it's things like that. They think that, you know, you're holding out on them. And, you know, I told one person that the other day, you know, well, why don't you come by? I'll let you know when UPS gets here. Why don't you just come by and get your parts? Oh, that's right. I ordered the parts through you, didn't I? Well, I guess I can wait. And I just told him, you know, I need the money and I could use the money. But if you want to make, you know, have that person do it, then more power to you. You know, I'm sorry that you're mad at me, but you know, I don't know how it's my fault that the UPS man hasn't came. But you know, it's things like that, people, that you have to understand, and you got to be tactful. You got to be, you know, when you're mad and irritated, sometimes you got to back off and not take it out on the customer, even though they're breathing down your neck and, you know, yelling at you, and you want to, you know, you want to punch them in the face. You just, sometimes you got to bite your tongue. They leave, and then you know, you do whatever. And luckily I was doing an add-on to where I could take my frustrations out and that, but it didn't get me anywhere. You know, I'm the one that's suffering for it, because, you know, high blood pressure and everything else. But that's beside the point. I just, once again, like, share, comment, subscribe, be kind to one another. Go out and watch The Six, watch Jay Young, go watch Chuck, Auto Pro Interiors, H&H is another one. He gave me a shout out, and I've been meaning to give him one. Just go out and watch everybody's videos. Go watch Jeff Kennedy. He's another, he's sharp, you know. Um, he's got a lot of good content on his videos. Justin Dowell's another one. Um, you know, I'm not thinking of everybody, and I'm sorry if I left anybody out, but just please go watch the YouTube community, the Blue Wrench Mafia, and just, you know, be a part of this. And thank you once again for subscribing to my channel. Thank you, everybody out there. God bless. Have a blessed Wednesday, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed day.